Hello everyone, this is my complete tutorial for Assetto Corsa. I will show you how to install all essentials for the game in 2024. Content Manager, Custom Shaders Patch, Soul, Pure, Cars and Tracks, PP Filters, and how to make it rain. I'll take you from the initial setup to more advanced features, step by step. Let's do it. Anyway, we have to start with basics, and for sure you will need the original game from Steam. Also, just to let you know, you will always need Steam to be running, otherwise it's not going to work. The first big question is the DLC really needed? That depends on the server you will be playing on. Some will require DLC just to run, if they use the original Kunos cars, which is really popular. I would recommend buying everything, of course, but quite often the only thing you'll need to get on a server is just the original game. The first place we go is Assetto Corsa. .club. You can Google it like I do, and here in the tab at the top it will say Content Manager. There's a little description of what exactly this launcher does, and you just have to scroll down, and from the direct link download the archive with the light version. It's a completely free version. Open the archive and just drag and drop the file wherever you want. We close the browser and open Content Manager for the first time. During the first installation, you will have some settings that you can change, namely the folder with the game, your Steam account, and you can also change the name or install additional files, which are related to the game or more advanced mods development. After clicking OK, we are taken to the main Content Manager screen. From here you can customize the entire game as you like. For example, from this main Drive tab you can control the races. You can also switch to the full version of the Content Manager, and you'll need a key for that, then you'll unlock additional features and modes. For this you go back to Assetto Corsa.club. And there are a couple of ways to donate to get the key. Once you have the key, you click here. And this is where you enter your key for the full version. A little thank you menu appears and then the application restarts. Now you have access to absolutely all modes. So how do you install the Custom Shaders patch? You simply go to the Settings tab, and here you click on Install Custom Shaders patch. By default, version 0.179 is the recommended version, although it is already outdated and you can upgrade to newer versions. All you need to do is just click on the version you want, and it automatically installs. It's updating, so you will get the current version when it's ready. If you want more advanced experimental features, you can upgrade to the paid version for only $1. To do that, go to Ilya Yusupov's Patreon page. On Patreon, he is the creator and content manager and Custom Shaders patch. You can just Google his nickname and Patreon, and here we get to Ilya's page. Here you will find very different versions of a more advanced shaders patch. All new features that are still in development, as well as all these versions, allow you to activate rain in the game. Usually in the post, there is an archive or a link to download new version. I'll show you how. So you can also participate in the discussion, see what kind of changes have been made recently, or maybe report some problems, or you have new ideas. Everything is actively being developed. So let's move on to the installation. Especially since there are two different ways, you can choose the one that suits you. The first way is to download the file directly. Usually to get the latest version, it is better to look at the most recent post that will be published. Posts will be updated, so this is just an example. You download the file to your computer. Once the download is complete, you go to the folder with the file, and then you just drag and drop the whole file into the Content Manager, and then you click right here, and then install here. And the version is automatically installed. Now it's already changed, but I recommend that you close Content Manager and open it again so that the changes will definitely take effect. As you can see, you now have the advanced version from Patreon. Now for the second option, so the easier option I think is to use the quick install link. I just click on it and then you click open link. In the Content Manager, it brings up a menu to install the new build. It starts downloading from the link. It takes a little bit longer, but overall it's much easier and much less likely to make a mistake. As you can see, we now have the advanced version installed with Patreon. And now that the first part is done, I'll do a little overview of the features. This part is responsible for choosing a car, but it's not all that simple. There are also additional options to explore here. This part is responsible for selecting the track. You can choose here the track or track configuration that you have installed. In addition, there is an interesting module with the time on track selection. And also, there is an advanced mode if you click on these 3 points. You have the option to pick a random time or increase the speed of real time significantly, resulting in a faster change of day and night. In addition, an interesting function to select a specific date. From this date will depend on the seasonality and the position of the sun at a certain point in time. For example, in summer, the sun will set later than in winter. You can also select real conditions on the track. This feature allows you to load real-world conditions on the track at a specific time period from the real world. When you start the game, if, for example, in the real world on the track, bad weather or it is the night, you will get exactly the same conditions that exist on the real track. If you want, for example, to put a fast lap, then you can choose the opposite. Ideal conditions, to not depend on the weather conditions. Next, let's look at the different game modes. There are several game modes, for example, practice, fast lap, race with the ability to choose opponents of your choice, weekend, drift session with points, or choose some mode from the experimental or test modes. Here, for example, or a mode like this, I think it's something you can play around and choose what you're interested in next. If you right-click anywhere, a hidden function comes up. You can customize a few settings here, like removing the hands or removing the steering wheel. Usually nobody even knows about it. Next, you can control a difficulty mode, or, for example, tire blankets, but there are a few more modes here. Here you can choose the helpers to make the game easier or switch to more realistic, or enable some settings inside the car responsible for the real systems that may be available in a real car. Choose what you like best. An important feature is the function of extended physics. It can be applied only to one car or to all cars. This is an experimental function. It makes the physics of the car more realistic. And also it is responsible for the physics of rain. In addition, the weather tab, you can select weather or, for example, the conditions of the track. You can also play with these parameters. There are presets on the parameters on the track. You can even customize the wind or temperature, for example. In the end of this part, I can say that you have an incredible amount of options and features with which you can customize your perfect race or just a day at the track. Give yourself a little time to play around it with all the possibilities. Cars and tracks installation. There are a lot of sites with mods, but would be easier to show you on the example of the familiar site assettocorsa.club. Just choose your favorite car on site and download the file with the car. Usually it is the same zip file with game files inside, and the file is downloaded. Once the file has downloaded, the easiest option is to drag and drop the archive into the Content Manager. Click here and click Install. The scheme is absolutely identical. After that, we can find a new car in this menu with the vehicle selection. You can find it by searching for it or just in the general list of vehicles through the Content Manager. Absolutely the same scheme happens with the installation of the track. We choose a track that we like and download the archive. As you can see in this example, the link was to the site race department. I advise you to register there, without it will not be able to download from there. In addition, we will need it to install other things from race department in future. The track downloaded and we drag it in the same way in the Content Manager according to the already known scheme. Click here to install. Accordingly, it just appears in the game and there is even a category New, so that you do not have to look for it for a long time. This is how you can install content automatically. Second method. If something went wrong, you can install the mods manually. For example, let's take this Ferrari formula. I've already downloaded it and unzipped it into a folder. What you need to do is find a folder called Content. After that, to get to the root folder with Assetto Corsa, you can right-click on the car inside the Content Manager and click Folder button. This will take you to the folder with the car. Accordingly, the best way is to go back to the root directory of the game. This is the typical location of the game. Now you take the downloaded car and drag it here. All the content with the car goes into the game. Then you go back into the Content Manager and the car appears in Access. So this is a typical manual installation way. It's best to be more careful at this point, but basically everything works exactly the same. As well, for example, this folder contains tracks. So, what I want to say, you will always have two ways to install the same car or track. Only be careful how you install manually. You must maintain the logic of the game's file system. Rain and how to enable rain in the game. The most important thing is to check what version of custom shaders patch you have. Rain only works in the Patreon version of the patch. They usually have the index Preview. After installing the correct version, you can simply select rain in the weather selection in the main game menu Drive. A small hint appears here. This is an important point, that in order for real rain physics to work and affect the behavior of the car, you must activate the extended physics feature. Otherwise, you have rain will only be a visual effect, which will not affect the physics and car behavior. But I understand some people just like a nice looking weather effect. How to install Sol. To install Sol, we go and Google the public version of Sol that can be found on the race department website where you already have an account. And we just download a small file from here, which already contains a link to the actual file. After that, you download exactly the same zip file, which you need to unzip. Inside contains several files and even has more complete installation instructions if you have problems. As you can see, all you need to do is place these Sol files in the root folder with the game. There are folders, content, folder, extension, folder, system, and so they should definitely be placed in the root folder. We just drag and drop it there. You can restart Content Manager right away. Now go to Assetto Corsa, Python apps, and enable all apps that are related to the Sol plugin. In addition, go to Settings, Custom Shaders Patch, and check that Weather FX is active, as well as select the script Sol. Go back to Drive and go to the Weather Selection Controllers. Now Sol controls the weather. You need to select this particular Soul 2.5 controller so that you can control the weather with a special plugin inside the game. As we have added new applications, Soul Planner is now available to you. It can be found here, in the Applications menu. In short, it is a powerful tool that allows you to control weather and environment, day and night changes, weather time scenarios, and so on. I'm sure you will love this app. The possibilities are really endless. You may want to change the day in 10 minutes of real time, or customize the time of the beginning and end of rain, the arrival of a hurricane or fog. It's actually up to you. Developer mode. Here is a hidden but important feature. If you want to enable developer mode, go to About and tap several times on the last digits of the version number. Click Yes, and debug features and other things will be available to you. We will cover them later. Pure. If Soul is not enough for you, there is a more advanced app. It's a paid app from Peter Bose Patreon page. He is the developer of Soul, and as such, he has a more advanced version called Pure. The app is in active development, and here is the current version. Note that you always need an up-to-date custom shaders patch for Pure to work. The path is roughly the same. You find the last post that Peter posted and download the current version. Peter usually has pretty detailed instructions at the link, and he also makes his own installation videos, so I'll just show you the easiest way to quickly install it all. As you can see, Pure weighs almost 2 GB, which is 10 times more than Soul. The way is the same. Take the file and unzip it. And see that there are tutorial files in here as well as the files we need to install. Peter says that the best option is to uninstall before installing Soul, and he has an exec file with which you can do this in one click. You just click on the appropriate file and uninstall Soul and install Pure. The only thing you'll need to do is select the folder where Assetto Corsa is installed. As you can see, I selected the root directory and the script deleted the necessary files and started installing Pure. I then press any key and the script is installed. I go back to the Content Manager. Now we go into the Weather Effects settings, and we have to select the Pure script because we don't have Soul anymore. We go back to the Drive section, and we see that we now have Pure as a controller. You can notice at once quite advanced dynamic weather settings. You can explore the possibilities by yourself. Pure allows you to have control over many more parameters. Planner has become even more intuitive. In addition, in Pure Config, you can customize an infinite number of settings for lighting, clouds, game rendering, and more. Pure is an incredibly powerful tool. Check out Peter on Patreon for more information. Post-processing filters. There are an incredible huge number of post-processing filters, so you can just start searching on Google and find the right one for you. As you can see, even on Race Department, there is a separate category. Usually the authors attach screenshots of exactly how the game will look like after installing this filter. We need to download this small file, and in general they are always small. Similarly, unzip the file, and as we see, there are already familiar two folders, extension, folder, system, which must be placed in the right place, in the root directory. You can see what's inside to make sure everything is correct. Now just drag them into the folder and you're done. Open our game, go to the Applications list and type in Post-Processing Filters. PP filters can dramatically change the picture, and some also have exposure settings. They change the way the game looks as a whole. Maybe you will find your favorite for different maps or different atmospheres. As we are done with initial setup, I'll show you more of the advanced settings and why you need a developer's mode activated. Okay, I guess you are ready to go deeper. As I said, if you have activated developer mode, debug features are now available. For example, the very useful CSP Debug application. Here you can use very interesting features and control the game in a way that has not been possible to control so far. As an example, there is a very nice feature, teleport. By clicking it, you can teleport your car to any convenient point. By simply pressing F7, you go into flight mode and control the camera with the arrows on the keyboard. I'll demonstrate what happens when you click teleport to any point on the map if you want to move somewhere quickly. Also, from the experimental functions that you can play with. This. If you need to always return to one point, you can save the position of the car and return it through save states. Customize a few if you need to. Just like that, one or two. Can be a very useful tool. Here are some exploratory options. Let's say you are tweaking the suspension for your cars. You may need some features to get more information from the car you are creating. The Physics tab. Enable the tire raise mapping. As you see, the advanced physics is enabled now by the amount of rays coming from the tire. Also, there is a debug model of Weather FX. If you need specific rain settings, you can use this debug to customize specific conditions in literally seconds. A very useful feature here also shows all the asphalt condition parameters and some debug features that can be enabled or disabled. Photo mode. One of my favorite apps is the Photo Mode app. With it, you can take amazingly beautiful screenshots, add filters, change crop settings, shutter speed, aperture, and frame focus. And create really beautiful screenshots literally in a couple of clicks. You get a lovely picture as this. App Shelf. Also, App Shelf application, which is integrated into Custom Shaders patch, is a collection of useful utilities that expand the functionality of the game. For example, the new 3D radar, or this Unbound app for managing car systems. As a specific example, I will show you the Paint Shop application, in which in real time, without leaving the track, you can change the color of your car. Or even, for example, like this, to add some stickers and text on your car. Its full color palette, different sticker sets, and the ability to save the textures of the car after your creation is complete. I'm not an artist. I hope you get something more interesting. Returning to Content Manager. A few different things that will be useful. So Gamepad FX. Gamepad FX allows you to control the car via gamepad in a fully functional way. You can use gamepads from different manufacturers, but you will have to find the script that suits you best. For example, here is a script Gyrosteer, which allows you to control with a gamepad from PlayStation based on accelerometers and gyroscope. For normal arcade races, this script is enough and I don't even need a steering wheel. Don't forget to select Gamepad as the control method in the control settings. Moving on. NEC-FX. NEC-FX brings a lot of new things to the table when playing in first person. The camera starts reacting to steering wheel turns, G-forces and other events that happen to the car. You get a more immersive experience. And it also allows you to look around inside the interior with the right mouse button. There are 2 different NEC-FX control scripts available now. Try to find the right one for you. One more little tweak I like is Smart Mirror. It allows you to display the actual image from the car mirrors given their position in reality and the driver's position in a car. Works great in VR. Really allows you to feel like you are inside the car. There are some fun options, even like mirror vibrations on old cars, which makes the gameplay even more realistic. Assetto Corsa, with Custom Shaders patch, has an incredible amount of customization options to create a unique racing experience. And even a normal track day, it's an amazing for me. Here, for example, I play with a gamepad, with neck FX and real mirrors. I believe this is a basic guide that covers the basic questions that arise for those who have just joined the Assetto Corsa community. According to the statistics, it is the most popular racing simulator right now. Let's see what the future of Assetto Corsa has in store for this game. Thanks for watching.